Okay, I guess we're live now. Hello, welcome everyone to our July delivery brief and AMA. The repeat viewers among us today will notice that I am not Mary Camacho. Unfortunately, she's not feeling very well today, and so she's asked me to step in, which is somewhat ironic because I have a sore throat, but so you might see me drinking water quite frequently. For those who don't know me, my name is Alastair Ong, and I am Director of Product at Holo. So as a quick reminder about the format of this live stream, I'll first give a delivery brief where I'll be recapping what we've been up to at Holo in the last month, and then talk about what's next for us at both the strategic and the tactical level, aiming to keep it to the next few months to be more tangible. After that, we'll open it up to the AMA portion where we already have some pre-collected questions, and also if people drop questions into the chat, they'll wind up here if they're not answered by Rob or Nathan. Okay, so with that in mind, let's jump into the delivery brief. So this being July, we've now wrapped up Q2, where I'm really happy to say that we have completed and released both the Cloud Console and the API. The public deployment API, that is. And as a reminder for everyone, the first version of the Cloud Console is specifically focused on the account and API key management aspects, so that users can then use the API to do the deployment. Right, that is the API first deployment approach that that I think Mary has spoken about in previous delivery briefs. By having both of these services released, what we've done is opened the door for self-service onboarding, so that users can sign up by themselves and deploy things to the Holo network. So that's critical as a foundational capability for the platform. Unfortunately, we weren't able to deliver static site hosting in the quarter. It wasn't the roadmap. This wasn't to do with any complexities on static site hosting itself, which we're still very confident about. Instead, what we've had in the quarter have been headwinds from a team member departing, which meant that some of the other devs had to get up the learning curve, and that took longer than we expected. The good news about that is that it's a one-off, right? It's a one-off. It's been addressed, where the team is now back up to speed with everything to continue moving forward. So it won't be a persistent cause of drag on our future roadmap. Looking ahead at Q3, so obviously one of the first things we'll have to do is deliver the static site hosting that we wanted to. As we've said in the past, we are really excited for this product because it's both a way to enable a full service for applications like Hum and vSphere, and it offers a way for our broader community to use Holo hosting, even if they're not ready to deploy a holochain application, right? It's much more common for people to already have a website, a personal blog, an e-commerce store, or something else that they might want to deploy on the Holo network. We are also in this quarter going to be prioritizing adding support for Holochain 0.5 to our existing cloud nodes and WebBridge product. I say that because it's important, but it's not a large amount of work. For those who are more technically minded and have been following along with our updates for a long period of time, they may remember some of our past, our past pre-Allegraph updates where we've had large foundational bumps to do with Holochain. That's not what this is. Our new Allegraph network is far more compartmentalized. So that means that this should be a relatively simple packaging up of a workload and just making sure that it works well. But beyond that, we now have with the orchestrator, the scheduler, the API, the Cloud Console, we have the platform foundations, and with static site hosting, WebBridge, Cloud Nodes, we have a suite of initial products to offer. So this quarter, what we really want to do is focus on our hosts and bringing them onto our new Allograph network. So our focus in this quarter will be on building the processes and tools to migrate holoports over. So that those will include things like human support processes as needed, pre-migration checks, a reinstaller for holoports that might need them, as well as metrics and monitoring gathering to check that everything's okay. The goal will be for a relatively streamlined, hopefully hands-off approach to updating. And we're not planning to move every holoport across. We don't know that every holoport is in a state right now to move across, but what we want to do is move somewhere in the region of 50 holoports and have the tools to rapidly move over more if we're finding that we can move over more. Right. So the numbers that we're talking about are, I would say, our conservative. This is the minimum of what we want to actually have migrated over. So I think that's really everything for Q3. I know that it's been a long time coming for hosts to get migrated over. So I would like to thank all our hosts for being so patient with us as we've worked to get to this point and build out the foundations of the new platform, as well as to our customers, our hodlers, and everyone else in the community for their support. All right. So with that, I think I've covered our delivery brief portion, and I would like to then move on to questions. All right, so I've put open the question list. All right, so will there be any sort of promoting the Holo network and its hosting? It's quite a niche product at the moment. Thanks. So absolutely. Right now, you don't see much in terms of promotion because the nature of our products to date have been extremely geared towards app hosting specifically, which is an area that we are already in close connection with our prospective customers. But certainly when we get to static site hosting and products that are geared towards a broader audience, this is an area that we're going to be looking at. When will Holoport start providing service? So there are Holoports already providing service today, and there are some hosts already being paid today. But as we're recognizing this, this isn't enough, and hence why in Q3 we're looking at moving far more holoports onto the network and hopefully seeing more of this. When will you start providing full-time hosting services? We already do. I tried Holochain and Vola Messengers. It was very good and fast. Why don't you publicize it? So I think we've probably done some cross-posting before, and I recently gave a demo at Vola Community Days. It's great to hear that it's performing well. We haven't been actively publicizing it because it's not something currently hosted on the Holo network, but that's something we're in conversation with Vola about. Are you ready to publish real products and open them up to individual users after all these years of development? Absolutely, we already have. Per the first question, those initial products have been holochain specific. So if you aren't actively building a app, you wouldn't have seen them. But with static site hosting and some of our future products, that would hopefully become more visible to everyone. If you were an investor in your own project today, what would you want to see delivered in the next 30 days to feel confident? Um, so I think this is a tricky question. I think 30 days is a short time, but the way I would approach this is really just to consider two questions for myself. The first is whether I believe in the both the strategic vision, but also the communicated roadmap in service of that vision. Like, do I believe that that is the right the roadmap and vision? And then secondly, what is the time-weighted track record delivering to said roadmap? Right? So I want to see the track record, but I'd also pay attention to um, more recent, you know, meeting or delays versus that roadmap. How far are you guys into solving the scalability issues, as in without it crashing? That is, I think, more of a holochain question than a holo question. On the holo side, we don't have any scalability issues that I'm aware of. Holochain 0.5, as from what I've heard, has been getting very positive reviews. So, but that's as much as I can say about that there. I think this is a question better posed with the Holochain Foundation. Where is Arthur Brock? So Arthur Brock is focused on unit and mutual credit currency frameworks and tools specifically. So he's you know, so both Unit and Holo are fully owned subsidiaries of the Holochain Foundation, but we are intentionally at arm's length with each other because for regulatory reasons. So I speak to Arthur on a regular basis, but in a like in a more of a vendor customer relationship, since we would be using since we want to be using HoloFuel. When will HTTP holo-host use holo-hosting? Um, well, as soon as we have static site hosting deployed, well, released, we actually want to get a version of our site on there. Whether that will become our main site depends on various things, right? This is something where we need to dog food, iron out uh, potential bugs, optimize, and so on. But at the moment it's released, we want a version running on there that we can use to benchmark and test against other forms of hosting. What is the status of the VASP license? Unfortunately, I'm less involved in the regulatory side than Mary, so this isn't a question I feel comfortable answering. But what we can do is uh, find the find out the answer, and either Nathan or Rob will provide a response um, after this delivery brief. What is the most recent update on HoloFuel? That is unfortunately something that you'll have to ask Unit. As I mentioned in one of my earlier answers, we have a an arm's length relationship. Obviously, we're testing HoloFuel, but it wouldn't be right for me to give an update in place of Unit. Okay, chat. From the chat, will Allograph enable existing companies to use our ports for hosting services? Existing companies that are big in tech space worldwide, Oracle, etc. Allograph enable gets us in that direction. It by itself doesn't solve that. What Allograph really is a compop um, is a microservice and container based platform, but because it is far more modular, it makes it possible for us to offer a much broader array of services, including services for existing companies. In contrast to the original Holo network, which was always designed from a holochain specific and really almost a holochain like a holochain only model. So not by itself, but it gets us in that direction. Chat, I'm curious. I have 3 WordPress blogs. Alistair, you mentioned hosting a blog a moment ago. Could I migrate my blogs onto the network? Who can I talk with about this? Um, so you might be able to. I don't know the details of WordPress specifically. Funnily enough, it's something I've never used myself. Um, but if you if you if you contact me or Rob or Nathan after this, we can discuss further, and I can chat to our engineers about what we can do to enable that. Nathan, Rob, are there any more questions? Okay, I'm not seeing any more questions in um, in the Q&A document that I'm getting. So I guess that means that, oh, sorry. There's obviously a side channel, and Rob has suggested that I give people a chance in the chat to ask any more questions. So I will just hold on here for a moment. How impactful can ports be when hosting for established companies? I think, well, I don't know. It really depends on the type of workload. So it's um, so it's something that needs further specification. Um, but so so as a result, it depends on, is it a workload that is really designed for a server, in which case it just depends on how heavy that workload is. But it could be a workload where there is value from having it placed in a very specific very specific location, for example, which is something that you can do with the Holo network, but you can't do with traditional hosting, right? With traditional hosting, you are confined to data centers and regions. So you're usually saying that you want it deployed in a certain location, region like Eastern United States. Whereas with the Holo network, you could really place a workload down to a given city, potentially a neighborhood, but then we'd have to start thinking about the privacy implications for hosts. Does SEC have the ability to label hot as a security? I have, I don't know. I don't think I know enough to answer this question. Um, yeah, in any meaningful way. Sorry. What part of recent developments has Holo completed? Which uh, which part of recent developments Holo has completed are you most excited uh, about why and what are the implications? Um, I think that rather than it being a specific item that Holo has completed, I'm most excited about, it's the fact that we have mostly, in my view, been executing to our roadmap. We did miss the static site hosting, but we have executed most of our roadmap, which is the first time I've seen that in many years. Okay. All right. I think we are probably at the end of Q&A. So let's wrap that up. Thank you everyone for tuning in, for asking lots of questions, and see you guys next time. Bye.